Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of Roots to Rise, How to Stay Disciplined When You Don't Feel Like It. Now, this topic I know can resonate with many of us. I always like to say, hey, let's discipline this. How to stay disciplined is when we don't feel like it is like the classic tale of the tortoise and the hare, which I'll get into that. But thank you for joining me for episode 3. Now, motivation is fleeting. Discipline is what keeps you moving. I'm going to say that again. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline is what keeps you moving. And this is what I mean by the classic tale of the tortoise and the hare, is that the hare speeds off. It's motivated that it can do this. It's a piece of cake. It's gonna beat the tortoise. Like what the tortoise is gonna compete and win. And we all know that the hare just goofs off, and the tortoise ends up winning. And it's slow. It knows it's slow. It knows it has a long journey ahead, but it has the discipline. So we all need to be like a tortoise and have it's that type of discipline that it has. And so I'm just going to share some updates with you guys regarding myself. As you guys know, in these previous 2 episodes, I've talked about how I went through a divorce. I'm also trying to navigate in a career. I'm also navigating a career transition, and looking for a job. Basically, right now I'm just doing gig work, freelancer work, and it's a bit tough. Yeah, it definitely could be a bit cumbersome, and definitely it could be a bummer. I could be downtrodden at times. Also paying down my debt that got left over from my marriage, and just a few hurdles that I have. And, whether it's staying consistent with content creation, wanting to work out, and, working on my coding and finalizing my projects and whatnot, it could be a hassle. And one way I stay disciplined is I always tell myself it's one day at a time. Not every day is going to be perfect. I mean, you got to stay motivated and have that discipline to make the most out of the days. How I look at it is that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and our tunnels, the length of our tunnels vary. Somebody's tunnel could be much shorter. Somebody's tunnel could be much longer. I guess for me personally, I've had many setbacks in life, and my tunnel seems a little longer. I'm going to live with that, but I'm doing whatever I can to make the most out of it. So I also have crazy odd hours, and most people, in the evenings, I come out and drive for Uber, and when I get home around 12:30 till 1:30, I normally would sleep, but recently I've told myself that no, man, that I'm hungry for success. I gotta stay floating, man. I gotta stay moving. And when I'm instead of going to sleep right away, I tend to work on my website. I tend to work on my blog posts, or coming up with a podcast plan. I'm also going to be working on Penguinware in the evenings on Fridays and Sundays. For those of you who don't know, Penguinware is my e-commerce the project where I'm going to be selling clothing of multicultural designs, which I'll get into another day. But right now, I just want to talk about how I juggle all this and how I can motivate you guys. And like I said, I'm just an everyday Joe, but I just feel like I've been through many setbacks, and I've triumphed to a point where I could share some success stories. And right now I'm in a bit of a pickle again, but I've known to become resilient and get through these hardships, and I can quit. I can quit. I'm 32 years old. I could, quit as in not ever working again. I could just stay at home, be a bum, play video games, or just do nothing, hop on social media, or I could just like, be homeless or something. But that's not me. That's not what I'm about. I'm about pushing through, and I'm about making the most out of life. And for me, I want stability, and that's what keeps me going. And despite having, these struggles, I could lead to self-doubt and burnout. Now, hear from a guy who has ADHD and who's going through all this chaos and struggle, and I'm, taking accountability to get through it. I've had many moments of self-doubt and burnouts, but for me, like I said, that stability, to be on my own, to be financially free, to be able to travel, which I really love, to go out and like try the latest restaurants or just be out and about, live like a fun life, a fun and stable life. That is what keeps me disciplined. And I actually feel really good, like when I come home, like after Ubering late night, that I open up my iPad or my laptop and I get to stuff. And my parents have been proud. Like they kind of were worried. They're like, why am I getting up around 10:30, 11:30? I told them, hey, like there's no need to worry. I'm not wasting my time, or I'm not having any like seat problems or anything. I'm actually working. Like I come home and I tackle my projects, and my website's almost done, and I'm glad where it's at right now. And and that's all by just staying disciplined. So that's where where I'm at. And I get it, without having without having like a clear agenda, it could be a lack of structure. So there's no clear plan that makes it makes it worthwhile to stick around. So like why we struggle to stay disciplined is lack of structure. I know I said that, but I'm just kind of want to be a little bit more cohesive as I'm just getting my podcast structure down as well. So I'm gonna go back and say like why we struggle to stay disciplined. It's lack of structure. So there's no clear plan, which makes it easier to slack off. Another one that a lot of people I think could relate to is distractions and instant gratification. So in terms of just hopping on social media, watching Netflix, for some of you guys that like Netflix and chill, gaming, just like socializing, just like being out and not really staying core or staying disciplined to do what it's necessary to like basically focus on what's on our plate. We tend to be, we tend to just take a break, and then those breaks just lead to more procrastination, and it just takes over, and like we just take the easy way out, and then which essentially we know that we're hurting ourselves, but then we take these guilty pleasures and just stay comfortable. And like it's like instant gratification. It's like, like hopping on social media, posting something is what gets us kind of going and kind of comparing or keeping up with the Joneses or something. Like, we tend to focus on sort of superficial stuff. And I've also noticed that when I was on social media, I dealt with FOMO, and I would want like the instant gratification of like, taking a selfie or looking good or go travel or do something and get the likes and the comments and feel like I was part of something. But in the end, I was just taking away myself from my responsibilities. And then, so like that would just say like, stay away from that stuff. I mean, social media is not bad, but here from a marketing professional, it's not bad, but it's also a big time suck. Like, it's great to stay updated, follow some productive channels, accounts, like people that are motivating, and like give yourself like some time to like follow or like check your social media or check up with family and friends. But other than that, it's just literally a time waste and just a flaunt, unfortunately, especially when it comes to like personal accounts. And then my third point is burnout, exhaustion. I get it, by doing the same thing over and over again, not seeing the results, you get exhausted. We're human. We want sometimes immediate results. Like I guess that ties into instant gratification. Like we want immediate success. Like, for example, you want that sexy 6-pack ab body, V shape for the men, and then for the woman, they want that, tend to want that hourglass figure. to the women that want that. Not every woman wants that, so everybody has their own body preferences. But what I'm over here, I'm just saying is that we want those results, right? Or we want to become rich, or we want money. We want that job. Like, for example, I'm applying for numerous jobs, going through numerous interviews. It's like, when will I get that one stable job? And so like that could lead to burnout and exhaustion. And I get that. And then, these are some of the 3 points that I've encountered that why we struggle to stay disciplined. So like, my way of combating this is to start with small wins. Just show up. Like, if you want to work out and you want that six-pack, you want the six-packs, you want those big muscles, chiseled face, chiseled body, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen if you just show up, put in like 10 minutes. Those 10 minutes gradually become 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's all about showing up, people. Like, for me, for example, every night I'm here Ubering, but I'm also coming home and working on, like my projects and stuff. And I know every day when I work on my website at nighttime, I know I'm cutting into my sleep, or like my getting up early, but I know that my next day is going to be better because, my website's coming up. I'm finishing it. I know the small wins are going to add up. And whether if I whether it's if I record a podcast episode or a blog post. So for me, it's those like small wins. Like, I got to show up, and I highly encourage you guys and gals to find something and that just commit to it daily, using a habit tracker or so, and just use as a streaks. So like that way you can, definitely show up, and even on bad days when you don't feel like it, like, you'll be making an effort. It's actually showing up on those bad days when we don't feel like it really count, because in the long run, in the grand scheme of things, that's all going to add up, because it's compounding. Like Albert Einstein said about compound interest. Same thing with our personal lives, or just in life in general. We want something, we got to work for it. It's the compounding steps, the daily steps. So that was starting with the small wins. Another one is set non-negotiables, like daily habits that move you forward. And I read this really good book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he talks about is like, start small. And whether it's like you said, whether like he's talks about like, the small steps, like I mentioned, you want to work out. You ideally want to work out for like an hour to 2 hours. You've tried it and you fail. Start with 5 minutes. Start with 10 minutes. You want to write you want to start writing up. You want to write that book. Just write a paragraph, or write a sentence. Write a paragraph. That will make you like to want more. When you achieve for something, like when you achieve for like the end result, we sometimes unfortunately get unmotivated. And like we lose like a sense of focus and discipline. So it's all about taking it one jab at a time, because we want more as humans. We crave stimulation. So like when we know that, oh man, like one sentence is not going to make me my millions or make me that well-known author, I got to write a few hundred pages or so, or 1,000 pages, or even like, or a short book, whatever, of like less than 100 pages, whatever. It's that end goal that you have, right? So it's like small steps. You want that six-pack body? Well, every day you gotta eat healthy, work out, count your calories, but start with baby steps. And right, eat one healthy meal and then slowly get at it. And I'm not a health nutrition or dietitian or anything, but I'm just giving you some generic examples. And like whether it's you want to do that, you want to pick up a hobby, let's say photography. You start with one picture, you just click, and next thing you know, like you're gonna keep going. You keep that flame alive. And then accountability in your environment. So like if you struggle with self-discipline, but that like you kind of need a support system, nothing wrong with that. Like it's like having a mentorship. Like find a mentor, or just leverage your friends and family and like someone that you trust. And you could build a accountability system or environment where you have like like-minded people, and you'd like all like could like have this little group or tribe and just like hold each other accountable. If that's not in your, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, then use like apps. Like I use TickTick, and this is not an endorsement by any way or affiliate. I'm not an affiliate of TickTick. I just use a few apps, which I'll get into, but I use TickTick, and I love the habit streak. And every day when I do something and I check it off, it's like, wow, I did something. It's like, yeah, I'm living up to my habit. I'm living up to my beliefs and all that good stuff. And that's how I hold myself accountable. And I highly recommend you guys, either use apps or find a support system. We're human, we also benefit from a social construct. So like, if that's what works, run with it, go with that. And then lastly, I know this one's going to be hard for those of us that have ADHD, but I'm telling you, it really works, is the master time blocking. Whether you schedule out time for, work, gyms, your self-care, or your hobbies, those are non-negotiables. You have to like block out time, because otherwise time runs away. And we think like, oh, this is only going to take 30 minutes, but then you get distracted by checking social media, or, you start socializing with people, or you go out or let's say you go for a walk, and next thing you know, like you get distracted with your neighbor or a friend or somebody, and you just start, and it's like when you come back to realize, oh my God, this time went away. See, like time is so precious. I hear from a guy that like is like dealing with ADHD and like trying to make the most out of his time, that seriously, like time is everything. We got to block it out. And if we have the capability or the opportunity to to get shit done through irregular hours, but we know that the end result's going to be like, I get it done, just do it. Like if you are someone that's rigid, like, no, I got to get up at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6, whatever, and I got to be at work by this time, so what? Just do it. Get it done, and you'll be like amazed. Like, so like I block out time for like, work, working out, just my self-care and hobbies. And like I use Google Calendar, and once again, not an affiliate or anything, but just that, and I use color code, so that way it kind of helps me visualize my calendar, what's my priorities. So that's another way of sticking through. And so just wrapping it up, so what's working for me right now, real talk, is basically like I know that I need a job. That's what keeps me going. I need stability. I've dealt with instability or throughout my life, and I need to tackle that. So like I know that by working on my podcast, by blogging and coding, working on my website, I got to stay diligent and disciplined to knock these out, because I know the end result. And even though I'm applying for jobs, working, I got to maintain my creative endeavors, because I know that has an end result, and it could definitely help me out. And I gotta, if I don't do it, then I'm not making it in life. So like that's how I been sticking through, by using apps. I like to write. I have a to-do list where I write down my things I gotta do. I also use the Apple Reminders app, which reminds me throughout the day. I have different sections, lists. I'm very organized in that compartment, which I'll have another episode about. But anyway, that's how I stay disciplined. And so what's keeping me on track despite setbacks and distractions? I just want to be successful, man. I'm 32 years old. I want to make it in life. I'm grateful for living with my parents, but I want to be on my own one day. Like I want to live in a city like San Francisco or Seattle, New York, Austin, or I may be one day out of the country, like London or Paris or something. But those are big goals. And for somebody who's like dealing with like, ADHD and debt and like job employment, all that seems like a major far away milestone. It's doable. I can conquer it. I know I'll conquer it. Right now I'm taking the small steps to mature up and be disciplined and do the right thing. And despite if it's hard or not, like like I said, I'm in a bit of a funk right now, but I'm going to get through it. And I want to make sure you guys, or who's ever out there, gals, are also struggling with this, that you guys also find your light at the end of the tunnel. And just to encourage you guys all, like something that I'm doing, like I said, this is my third podcast episode. I know I don't have any intro. I'm not like sounding like a typical podcast host or whatnot. I'm just running with it. And it's just to start. And it's not, and even if it's not perfect, so what? Nothing's perfect in life. And I know those perfectionists out there that want things a certain way. Kudos to you guys. But even for you guys or gals, it's not perfect, right? And we stress over it and we go, we lose, get all chaotic and go, But trust me, it's okay when you're starting something, it's not perfect. Just run with it. Like I'm talking about working out, you put 10 minutes in, you do like a 10-minute HIIT workout. Sure, that's not going to get you a 6-pack right away or those nice big muscles or, shredded body, but it's a step towards something, right? And then gradually you're going to put in another 10 minutes and 20. Next thing you know, you're working on for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours or more. So it's okay. And, if you want to start that book, you write that one sentence or that one word for some of those, or like for some of those people out there that really struggle. And it's okay. You write one word, you wrote a word. Okay. So eventually you're going to start. Now, my blogging, my podcast, my websites, they're not perfect, but it's a start, right? It gives me encouragement, it gives me confidence that I'm doing something. So, and I encourage you guys all to, keep doing that. And so lastly, as we wrap it up, discipline is what keeps you moving when
head to your pickup at Terminal A. West curb at phase rides.
So, start small, build momentum, and keep pushing forward. And lastly, if this episode helped you, follow it and share it with someone who needs it. And as always, we gonna make it through. All right, ciao. So, as they say in Afrikaans, tot ziens, which is Afrikaans for good night. And just wanted to say, hope I can help someone out there. And please, once again, please feel to share this story or podcast with someone that you think that might benefit from it. And until next time, alrighty, tot ziens.